But yeah, I guess also I'm just thinking about like I I don't know. Thinking about soul ties. Um, and maybe adverse reactions to divorce or fornication. Yep. So yeah, I shouldn't have ended that video. I was going somewhere. I just was afraid to get too personal in a not so safe space. Um, so, anywho, um, interesting though. Yeah, made that a surgery made for beautiful young virgins. My challenge though is he got some stuff too. Um, I don't know. Guess I'm still on chapter one. That she needed to recognize she had to go. It's like you can hold a um, you can hold a banquet for the women in the king's palace, but when he calls you, you refuse to come. You can't come. You gotta. He said you gotta go. And yeah, here he is now. He's calmed down, and they're advising him to make a call for young virgins. And I guess I'm challenged again. I have to perhaps keep reading to see if there's some more insight. Maybe or maybe not. But all right, here we go. Let the king appoint commissioners in every province of his realm to bring all these beautiful young women into the harem at the citadel of Susa, and let them be placed under the care of Haggai, the king's eunuch, who is in charge of the women, and let beauty treatments be given to them. Then let the young woman who pleases the king be queen instead of Vashti. This advice appealed to the king, and he followed it. Now, there was in the citadel of Susa a Jew of the tribe of Benjamin named Mordecai, son of Jair, the son of Shimi, the son of Kish, who had been carried into exile from Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, among those taken captive with Jehoiakim, king of Judah. Mordecai had a cousin named Hadassah, whom he had brought up because she neither had father nor mother. And this young woman, who was also known as Esther, had a lovely figure and was beautiful. Mordecai had taken her as his own daughter when her father and mother died. And when the king's order and edict had been proclaimed, many young women were brought to the citadel of Susa and put under the care of Haggai. Esther also was taken to the king's palace, and entrusted to Haggai, who had charge of the harem. She pleased him and won his favor. Immediately he provided her with her beauty treatments and special food. He assigned her to 7 female attendants, selected from the king's palace, and moved her, I see, again, so understanding the times, like earlier when I mentioned, like, is there someone close to her who could maybe relay a message in a way? Understanding the times I'm better understanding the times as I continue to read here. It says where it talks about. I'm just remembering that you really weren't allowed in the king's presence. Women weren't, or maybe just the queen. So just keeping all that in mind. Anyways. All right. He assigned her the 7 female attendants looking from the king's palace and moved her and her attendants into the best place of the harem. Esther had not revealed her nationality and family background because Mordecai had forbidden her to do so. Every day, he walked back and forth near the country yard of the harem to find out how Esther was and what was happening to her. Before a young woman's turn came to go in to King Xerxes, she had to complete 12 months of beauty treatments prescribed for the women, 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 with perfumes and cosmetics. And this is how she would go to the king. Anything she wanted was given to her to take with her from the harem to the king's palace. I got it. Yeah. A little slow. Woo, baby! I done turned this video camera on before the revelation. So, this is good. My God. Girl, shut the front door. Man. How about that? Wow. Okay. All right. Calm it down. Okay. All right. In the evening, she would go there. The women. In the evening, when it would be a person's turn to go, she would go there, and in the morning return to another part of the harem to the care of Shazgaz. I'm in verse 14. The king's eunuch, who was in charge of the the king's eunuch who was in charge of the concubines. She would not return to the king unless he was pleased with her and summoned her by name. There it is. Verse number 15. When the turn came for Esther, the young woman Mordecai had adopted, the daughter of his uncle Abihail, to go to the king. When it was Esther's turn, she asked for nothing other than what Haggai, the king's eunuch who was in charge of the harem, suggested. And Esther won the favor of everyone who saw her. She was taken to King Xerxes in the royal residence in the 12th month, the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. I need to read that again because I was seeing something as I was reading that, and therefore my comprehension was not entirely there. One moment. It was when it says that when it was her turn, she asked for nothing other than what Haggai, the king's eunuch who was in charge of the harem or the harem, suggested. She asked for nothing except for what was suggested. Man. And then it follows that with by saying, and Esther won the favor of everyone who saw her. I'm just reminded of maybe a lesser version of myself. Say maybe really heavy. I say maybe really heavy. Because I have to keep talking to know if I would consider it to be a lesser version of myself. But to if I just taking this in context, um, she didn't take advantage of kind of having all the things for her when she went to the king's palace. Or I think maybe even in general, I think that speaks to, I think when she went to her not her not having special requests is indicative of her overall character, that she is submissive. But what I saw when I was reading it was just a level of trust that had come over her, or that kind of rests over her, and obviously the Bible talks about winning favor in the sight of both God and man. So I look for that. I look for opportunities to explore and learn what it takes to live in the blessedness of God. But the reason I say a lesser version of myself is because I, again, not so safe space, am just careful though to not take advantage of people, and I found out that it puts me in a position to be taken advantage of. And so finding a healthy balance between being the one who just kind of doesn't make any special requests, being the person who does what's suggested, as opposed to, I guess, being a forward thinker. And so there's a couple of things that are unfolding in that, and I'm just always examining myself. So question mark right there. That was verse number 15 and 16. I'll read 16 again. It says, she was taken to King Xerxes in the royal residence in the 10th month, the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. Okay. Verse number 17. Now the king was attracted to Esther more than to any of the women, and she won his favor and approval more than any of the other virgins. So he set a royal crown on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. And the king gave a great banquet. And Esther's banquet, gave a great banquet, Esther's banquet, for all his nobles and officials. He proclaimed a holiday throughout the provinces and distributed gifts with royal liberality. I'm going to go turn this music down. Let me pause this. Okay, so continuing with chapter 2, verse 19 says, when the virgins were assembled a second time, Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, but Esther had kept secret her family background and nationality, just as Mordecai had told her to do. For she continued to follow Mordecai's instructions, as she had done when he was bringing her up. Wow, guys. Wow. That's good. Verse 21. During the time Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, Bigthana and Teresh, don't look. Pronouncing these names is difficult. Can be for me. And Teresh, two of the king's officers who guarded the doorway, became angry and conspired to assassinate King Xerxes. But Mordecai found out about the plot and told Queen Esther, who in turn reported it to the king, giving credit to Mordecai. And when giving credit to Mordecai. Sorry. Listen, look, the issues of my heart gonna be answered, and I'm gonna stay right here in my convictions. And I just love being affirmed by the word. That's all. God is good. There's a way of governing ourselves, and a way that exudes from us that, amen, that we could all and should all aspire to live according to. Okay. And when the report was investigated and found to be true, come on, investigate. Look and listen. Don't just go by word of mouth. The two officials were impaled on poles. All this was recorded in the book of Annals in the presence of the king. Alright, that's chapter 2 entirely. I don't think I rushed it. I think I was into it. So I don't really have any other thoughts right now, but like I said, there may be a moment of dead silence. I'm gonna take a few seconds to see if anything comes to my mind before closing out this video. Again, if you're here and you're still here, thank you for committing to it. And I would love to know what you think. I would like to hear your feedback. I would like to hear your feedback. Any questions? Any comments? I always leave room to grow by, so I'm here to listen. And as much as I am feeding and sharing. So, alright. I don't know if I'll get to 3 and 4 today, but so what happened in this chapter? In this chapter, we find some of the reasons Esther was chosen to be queen. We even got a little bit more background about the process, or just understanding the times, I guess. And maybe the structure or the way the king's palace is set up. Yeah, I have no idea what else I need to get out of this. Sorry for what was mentioned there in 22 through 22 and 23, verses 22 and 23. So I'm gonna close out this video. That's chapter number 2. I have 2 more chapters before I get to what I started this for. Alright, be kind, be courteous, be polite with your comments, because we are all in this together. Okay, have a good day.